Coach. We're here with Coach Stefan Ptaszek after week 2 loss against the Queen's Gaels. Coach, start with your opening thoughts on today's game.
It's a good football team, extremely well coached. We played some in spurts on all sides of the ball, but we got to be the best versions of ourselves to compete with a Yates Cup contender like Queens. And it frayed a little bit. Proud of the guys' second half effort, and thought my special teams played very good for all 4 quarters. So I think there's lots of heart. I think there's lots of skill. I think if we do this right, a whole bunch of my organization has got to point a lot of thumbs and figure out how we can do a whole bunch of things just a little bit better.
I know this is a young group. What positives can you take away from those guys who kind of get experience with? Losses are not ideal, but what can they take away from kind of day road today?
Yeah, I thought that in the trenches, I don't think we won, but I don't think we were overwhelmed. And so I thought my D-line and controlling the run game, they got worn down a little bit because they were on the field too much, but it wasn't the ground game that ate us up in the first half from 2024, and Queens ran it down our throats last year a little bit, and so I thought that was good. I thought our O-line gave our quarterback a little bit of time. Certainly the run game wasn't where we would want it to be, but again, we weren't taking on a ton of water up front. We could hold our own up front, and so as a coaching staff, that's something we can hang our hat on, and wish we put our kids in a little better place across the board, because the line of scrimmage was closer than it was in the previous year.
And then just in terms of for you guys falling behind early, looking back on it, what do you find was kind of the biggest reasons behind that?
Well, we missed a field goal out the gate, and that's our first possession, and so that points off the board. The defense held up on the run game, but they gave up 2 explosives in that first half. The two deep shots are instant field position, and so that hurts us a little bit. Offensively, we were kind of out of sorts most of the afternoon, and the 2 and outs are not catastrophic, except your defense then has to defend a lot of plays, and they got worn down a little bit in the first half, and so that the system it all intertwines, and so if one is not functioning well, you expose some of the other things. And I thought our defense played some pretty good series, but they were on the field too long. Yeah, I mean, this is a good football team, so we can't settle for field goals, and so I think we'll see the film. We'll see the film. We had a second and goal or second down and inches from the 3, and I feel like we, as coaches, we could have quarterback sneak the first down, and then we would have had 2 full sets of downs or 3 full sets of downs to finish that drive. So I think that there's at least one of those possessions in the red zone we can, as a coaching staff, make some better choices. I thought, we had some guys open. We're gonna miss throws sometimes. We were pretty good. And Luke will talk to you about it. I think we had some slant routes that were close. We didn't get to the score zone maybe 3 times. And I think we came away with a field goal. No, actually, we had 2 safeties, and we came away with zip. So the missed field goal and a couple go for it on third downs, they got us. And so, yeah, no offensive touchdown is nowhere you want to live for very long. So we got to sort that one out. I don't think that we'll spend too much time on that rabbit hole. We just setting ourselves up, and we have some explosive playmakers. We just got to do a better job and put them in positions to make plays. We were a little stale on that defensive game plan. I'll tip my hat to their coaching staff. They were in good spots.
Which in terms of, I think you mentioned earlier about kind of everyone putting the thumb back on themselves kind of thing, and I'm wondering for you, Steph, and even the team, when you do that in the bye week in the next week, 2 weeks, when you do that, what do you find that you're going to reflect on what's going to come up?
I mean, for me as the head coach, I gotta make sure I'm doing everything I can to support my coordinators and make sure Coach Underhill on special teams and Coach Grandy on defense and Coach Hopkins on offense have what they need. I'm helping out with that receiver group and coaching that one a little more detail and making sure that we clean up everything that we can to make as big a contribution from the receiver group perspective for the whole football team. I'll do a little bit of that and then just work hard. Bye week, the challenge to get better is there's no game at the end of it. It can't be a week off. We got a long road to travel if we're going to be a legitimate contender in the playoffs, and we got to win some football games in short order if we're going to make the playoffs. So that bye week, we got to find a way to get better. And the 2 weeks off, we got to travel well, and this Windsor game's a big one for us. We get the first win, and the back half of the schedule, hopefully we can level off this thing, go 2-2 on the front half, that would be something. But we got to find a way to win at least one on the first four, and then on the back half we got to win 3 or 4 to finish this season to get to a 500 and remain in control of our destiny. So there's work to do for myself as the head coach. I got to make sure we stay as positive as we can and we just work hard. I know they have the talent. I have infinite faith that this group, if they continue to get better for 8 straight weeks, they're going to be a very good football team.
Last one, Steph. 2 weeks to prepare for a big road game at Windsor. What do you expect out of Windsor in week 4?
They had first week bye, so the only film is just happened today, so we'll have to see. Traditionally, again, Coach Cercelli, it's smash mouth football, and they're very solid up front. I'm pretty pleased that my line of scrimmage, I think, will hold up, and we'll see. They have a tough game today. Who do they got? Is it Laurier or is it? It's Laurier today. It's Laurier. So we'll get into that film, and we get 2 weeks to prepare. In between that, they got a Guelph game, and so that the bye week is our advantage, and we got to take advantage of it. The 2.5-hour trip down the road, we'll have to travel well and play our best football game if we want to be a 1-2 football team. Yep. Thank you.
We're here with quarterback number 14, Luke Thalman. Luke first started home, and it was your first kind of go around as a starting quarterback, and here with the program a couple of years. Let's first kind of start with your thoughts on today's game.
I thought Queens played a really good game. I thought that we didn't execute the way that we planned out to execute. I thought that there's a lot of throws I left out there that obviously I want back. Kind of thinking about it, looking back, there's a lot of plays I could have made that I didn't make. But yeah, so it's kind of just at this point just trying to move forward. But hats off to Queens, played a really good game. Thought our defense played pretty well overall, but we just didn't give them much help.
Over the next 2 weeks, what do you kind of look to work on, whether that's in the quarterback room or with your receivers? What are you focused on tightening up?
I think that we just gotta keep working, building our chemistry and kind of our gel together. Obviously, a younger team, but I feel like a lot of potential with our entire roster. But like I said, I have the utmost confidence in all those guys, and it really just comes down to me making a few more plays, I think.
And as I said, you've been part of the program a couple of years now. Obviously, learned under a couple top-end quarterbacks. What was it like kind of getting that first start at home, and what did you learn from those guys over the last couple of years that is going to help you moving forward?
Yeah, it's more about the thing I learned most was kind of just how to deal with adversity. I think Keegan, my second year, his first year starting, we didn't have a great year. He had a few tough games, and kind of just watching him go through that, I think is going to be really important these next 2 weeks when we get some time off here. But yeah, kind of figuring out how to deal through adversity, because obviously throw a pick, make a few bad throws, miss a few throws. You kind of want to get down on yourself, but as a leader of the team, obviously you can't do that. You gotta be a guy that everybody can look to. So it's mainly just I gotta improve it, and kind of think back to dealing with that adversity and kind of just making sure that I'm a leader of this team.
We'll go to the room for 3 questions. Michael?
You mentioned in terms of that dealing with adversity or in that regard. Basically, kind of just like even like the season today, like how do you find in terms of what is that process like for you when you do deal with adversity, whether it's like in a practice in a game?
Mm-hmm.
Like what is that process?
In a practice, I feel like it's obviously a lot easier because you got some time to go back and watch over the film, kind of think about it, go over it with the coaches. Whereas in a game, you know, it's a lot more of like a flip the page mentality. You know, you make a bad play, it's kind of just flip the page, move on, and I think that's something I need to improve on for sure. One of many things. Like I feel like, you know, I got in my head a little bit too much early. Maybe I think I just need to flip the page and kind of work on that, because I need to be somebody that these guys can look to and lean on. And you know, obviously, my play, you know, does that as well. But yeah.
Matt?
Hey Luke, Matt Davison here. I wanted to ask about the game today. Just weren't a lot of long passes out there. Didn't really stretch the field too much. Was that kind of a result of Queen's, you know, great secondary and just, you know, getting things covered up, or was there a bit of a hesitancy to pass the ball today?
No, there was no hesitancy. Queens, you know, hats off to them. Their secondary was playing pretty well. They had a few pretty good coverages called up for when we wanted to take our shots. But yeah, there's no hesitancy to go deep. You know, we're very confident in the receivers that we have, and that they're going to make some plays. It was more that, you know, if anything, I was more hesitant to throw deep because I saw some stuff going on. But yeah, Queens was in pretty good spots, you know, but I just got to also push the ball downfield and make them, you know, second guess themselves, take some more shots.
One more for Michael.
Luke, you mentioned in terms earlier about that building chemistry.
Yep.
So I'm curious, like even so far and going forward, what do you find have been like the biggest things and the most effective things in terms of like building that chemistry?
Yeah. Overall, throughout the summer, you know, we got a lot of throws in with the receivers, which is very important to build that chemistry. I think a lot of those guys are some of my best friends on the team. I think that, you know, I'm really good friends with I feel like this group is a super tight group. I think it feels different in the locker room right now. And I still have the utmost confidence in all those guys. It's just, obviously, it's a little bit different going from chemistry in practice to chemistry in a game, and I think it's going to take some time, obviously, and kind of think about that chemistry in a game, or for that practice chemistry to translate into that chemistry in the game.
Cool. Thanks, Luke.
Thanks, guys.